walk in as an unemotional party and walk around the house. How does your landscaping look? Let's start from the outside. How does your landscaping look? How does your... Because when the realtor is waiting there with the buyer and ringing the doorbell, the buyer is scoping out.
Exactly.
कि जाले लगे हुए हैं ऊपर. What they say, right, when you're getting married, that you put makeup on a girl and you get the girl to the altar. Now, baad mein, whatever happens when the makeup comes off. And if you've seen the makeup videos, it's hard to see what the girl looks like normally.
Exactly.
And what the girl looks like after the makeup. You're like, wow, really? Like,
yeah, I think you can tell by the way they talk how much experience they have. Like, each town has their own inspections. There are things we'll point out to you that might be flagged in a township inspection or a home inspection. So as a seller, you will also get the feel for whether or not this realtor knows what they're talking about, or are they just kind of walking through and, you know. And I think it starts with trust. If you don't trust your realtor, you'll never believe what they're saying. So I was saying this once too, that if you, like, let's say some buyers go straight to the listing agent, right? Naturally, the perception, unless they know the agent, is that that agent is on the seller's side, even though they're working with them, right? Because they feel the agent knows the seller longer.
Welcome to Real Estate On Track on ITV Gold, and today Sanjeev Aneja ji is not here, but yes, we have with us the award-winning salesperson, that is Alka Aneja, and joining her is another valuable member of Aneja team, that is Neetu Aneja. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
yes, she's in place of Bhaiya today, Bhaiya's daughter. So next best thing you can have.
Absolutely. And just, before we start, I just want to remind everybody that in case, you somehow miss this show, which is Friday at 8 p.m., we have a Sunday repeat at 8 p.m. also. And for all real estate questions, you can always reach out to them at 732-494-2211.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, we have been talking a lot about like real estate and everything else in there.
Of course.
Let's talk about how to choose a good realtor, when you are buying or when you are selling.
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. So there are you can be in two sets of positions, right? You can either be selling your home, renting your home, or buying your home. Either way, you need to figure out what is the best fit for you as you are hiring a realtor. When you hire us, you're essentially giving us an employment agreement. We end up working for you. We end up telling you what things to make your house stand out or to make your search stand out. And our roles change as a realtor depending on who we're speaking to. So some of the tips we'll give you first as a seller's realtor as to what we do. So the first thing we do is we come and take a look at your home, right? And then we walk through the house with you to say what needs to be fixed. Because when you're living in the house, it's hard, Priya, because जब तुम रहते हो घर में तुम्हारे को आइडिया नहीं रहता
बिल्कुल
कि घर में क्या क्या हो रहा है, right? You want to make sure if you step back, walk in as an unemotional party and walk around the house. How does your landscaping look? Let's start from the outside. How does your landscaping look? Because when the realtor is waiting there with the buyer and ringing the doorbell, the buyer is scoping out.
Exactly.
कि जाले लगे हुए हैं ऊपर, लाइटें खराब हुई हैं.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, they're paying attention to those details which you would not. So we walk around through the whole home, and this is just, we're not going to walk out each step with you, but walk around through the whole house to say, this is what you need to get done. The more you make your home look better, the better money you will get. If people think that they don't have to spend any money walking into the home, right, they will give you more money. Because if they're spending a lot of money, nowadays the market is crazy for the buyer, they're spending a lot of money up front to begin with. So if they are getting something done, and it's all, like, cosmetically it's all redone. What they say, right, when you're getting married, that you put makeup on a girl and you get the girl to the altar. Now, baad mein, whatever happens when the makeup comes off. And if you've seen the makeup videos, it's hard to see what the girl looks like normally.
Exactly.
And what the girl looks like after the makeup. You're like, wow, really? Like, so it's doing the same thing. It's prepping your home for sale. So important. Staging is so important.
I had a question, like for like a buyer and a seller, do they look for like different qualities in a realtor? When you are looking for a realtor, what kind of qualities?
And this is what you're coming in and saying, okay, how much does a realtor know? Right? If you see a leak and you know you have a leak and your realtor coming in doesn't even notice your leak, they are not paying attention to detail. That leak is not going to go unnoticed by the buyer and by the. So you need to know that the person you're hiring on your side is actually has attention to that detail.
Okay.
Is actually going to be on your side.
Yeah, I think you can tell by the way they talk how much experience they have. Like each town has their own inspections. There are things we'll point out to you that might be flagged in a township inspection or a home inspection. So as a seller, you will also get the feel for whether or not this realtor knows what they're talking about, or are they just kind of walking through and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And agreeing with you, like it's best, right? If when you're hiring a child or anybody, if somebody just agrees with you and says, yeah, very, very nice, very nice, very nice. Where are they adding value? Where we're giving you some help, giving you ideas, how to make your home better. That's just stage one, is how to step up your home. That's not all you do. Then it is, after that, it's fielding appointments. It's marketing the home to the right people.
Pricing it right.
Pricing it right.
Yeah.
It's huge. You can have Shah Rukh Khan stand outside your home. If your home is not priced right, it's not going to sell. That alone itself is, 90% of your job. Pricing it according to the condition. If your home is beautiful, you could price it a little higher. If your home we were walking around the house yesterday, and there is a house that has a Amitabh Bachchan outside, and it's beautiful. But if the home inside was a dump, it doesn't matter if Amitabh Bachchan's statue is there. You need to make sure that the house inside looks pretty. So pricing is number one. Inspections, what to do in inspections. Now the buyer has bought the home. What about now they have inspections? They can kill the contract during inspections, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure that you protect yourself against inspection. We send a list to our sellers saying, these are the things that will come up during home inspections. Please prep your house. Because right now what you do, you can do with a handyman. After that, everything needs to be done with a licensed professional. So they need to prep their house to make sure that anything, it's kind of like having mines in your path, and you're trying to just avoid those mines. And we give you tips to say, okay, step here, step here, step here, and then you get to your goal.
So, for example, suppose, I'm buying a house and I'm with A, B, or C realtor, and in the middle of all the processes going on, I just want to change it. I don't like something about the realtor. Can we do that?
No. Okay. Sadly, you cannot. There is, once you start...
For a buyer or seller?
As a buyer.
No, but if they already bought a home, they cannot.
No, she's saying in the process,
right?
While
you're looking for a home.
Yes.
While you're looking for a home as a buyer, you can. While you're looking for a home as the seller, depends on your contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your contract is not giving you that professional guarantee that we were talking about, the unconditional guarantee, which we offer that you can cancel our contract at any time, then you cannot. If it does give you that guarantee, even as when we're listing the home, you can absolutely get out.
Also with buyers, with the changes coming up with the buyer agency agreement now, depending on that contract, you may not be able to switch your realtor as a buyer either.
Yeah.
So you have to just be, we always say choosing the right realtor is so important, because if you get stuck, that it's like they say, if you, like Bob always brings up the doctor thing, you don't need a good doctor till there's a problem. It's the same thing. So you have to talk to people, you have to interview them properly. You don't know how critical it is to have a good doctor until something goes wrong. It's the same thing with choosing your realtor.
Absolutely. And continuing with the listing step or with the seller step, you still have appraisals to do. So there are 3 points where a contract can break. It can be during, of course, first getting the right price, then the inspections, and then the appraisal. So we as realtors guide you as to how to do the right steps to get the right appraisal. Because even in this market where the buyers have waived appraisal, you want the appraisal to come out right. Because you want the buyer to say, you know what, yeah, I overpaid, but I feel good. It's all a psychological game. Yeah. And you want to make sure that you win every part of that game, and you want to make sure that you have somebody on your side that helps you win it, right? And then it's just making sure your township inspections are done. If as a seller's agent, you're not on top of your game with the township inspections. Like we just did a condo where we figured out, oh my God, there's 4 open permits. The seller had no idea there were any open permits. She said, I got stuff done. I got permits. I didn't know they were supposed to be closed. We're like now running around trying to figure that out. But they wouldn't know. That's what you hire us for. And she said to me, it's so weird that you have so many moving parts in every transaction. And I said, but you hire us for those. What's the point of having a professional if you still have to juggle all of that? That's what we're here for, right? And then obviously getting you towards making sure that all things are done a couple of days before closing to make sure you close it on time. that in a nutshell is what a seller's realtor is supposed to do for you. And again, because it's not, X plus Y equals Z, it's really a whole lot of moving parts because you're moving with so many personalities that there can be more. But this is just a streamlined process. But now to go to a buyer, right? A buyer also has to hire a realtor. And the buyer's realtor is, you hire someone from, and both times, you hire somebody from word of mouth. You look at their Zillow reviews. You make sure you interview them, how comfortable you are with them. And then it is when you were sending them homes to see or when they're sending you homes, how are they treating those homes? If they say to you, okay, let's go see it, or everything is nice, or they're overselling like used car salesmen, right? You don't want that.
So those are the red flags that
those
you
are the
have
red
to-
flags.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to make sure that these people say, you know what? I don't like this house. And it's not always about the smell or how you keep the house, right? Because remember, when the house is very clean, those people are going to go and take their stuff with them. And when the house is smelly, those people are also going to go take the stuff with them. You're looking at the bone. So you don't want your realtor to be on your emotional high and emotional low. Your realtor is your guide.
Yeah.
They're not there to go on, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Oh my God, yes, you hate it. So we have to tell you what the logical and rational aspects of every
And
home.
I think it starts with trust. If you don't trust your realtor, you'll never believe what they're
100%.
saying. So I was saying this once too, that if you, like, let's say some buyers go straight to the listing agent, right? Naturally, the perception, unless they know the agent, is that that agent is on the seller's side, even though they're working with them, right? Because they feel the agent knows the seller longer. If you take that scenario versus a buyer who's been working with you for a long time and trusts you, what you say to them comes off very differently than to someone who doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
So that trust, you have to trust your realtor, because when we don't push, it's for you, and when we push, it's for you. It's never for the sale or for, just to get it to closing. So trust is so important on either side.
So how good are like online reviews? When you're-
I think they're great. I would even say call some of those people. If you ask the realtor for certain people to talk to, and let them talk to people who have dealt with us personally or dealt with that realtor personally, because that's the best experience you'll get.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure that everybody khate pite ghar ke log hai sab. When you talk to someone, you'll know ki if the person's telling you the truth or not telling you the truth. Are they on your side or are they not on your side? That thing is so important and cannot be undermined, because your interest must be maintained, right? And there are times where we will tell you, listen, this is not good for you. And just know, we're of course here to make money. So no one is saying that we're here to do this as charity. We get paid in the process. Otherwise we wouldn't do it, right? But our job is to say, okay, if we do it, we're going to do the right way. It is your interest first. If it's good for you, we want to do it. If it's not, we're totally okay if it takes you a year and a half to buy a home. We're happy if you buy it in 3 weeks, but we're okay if it takes you a year and a half, as long as you're happy, right? And for you as a buyer, it's important that we're there for your home inspections. It's important that we guide you on how to negotiate those home inspections. Those are super important because you're going to be living with them. We do not recommend inspectors that are cheap. We do not recommend inspectors that don't do their work. We've seen inspectors come in and say, you know what, the carpeting needs to be changed. You don't need an inspector to say that. I can tell you the carpeting needs to be changed.
Exactly.
Right? You need an inspector to actually look at stuff. We give you inspectors that have actually killed our transactions to make sure that you are getting the best. That's what our job is. Our job is always to protect you and to make sure that your interest is truly over ours. For appraisal also, we try and go with your appraisal. Sometimes a listing agent wants to do it, but in our case, we always try to go to your appraisal to make sure that we can project the home in the best possible light. We have a moving truck for our buyers so that we can actually give you the moving truck, right? And say if you want to move and use our truck, feel free to get your friends together, give them pizza, give them whatever food, and help them load your truck for you. We are here for you to make your life as simple as possible and then get you, it's already very stressful. Buying a home and selling home is the most stressful thing you can do. And if you have the people on your side to do the right thing, it makes the process so much easier.
But how about like checking the realtor's credentials and stuff like
Absolutely, and you should. Those are things you should be doing in the beginning, right? You should be asking, how long have you been doing this? How many houses have you sold? Do you know the area? And you will know when you talk to the realtor if they know the area or not, right? You will just know those things. So say, you know what? I am not comfortable if after 5 homes you've seen that this is not a good fit. Now, does that mean we've never lost clients? Of course we've lost clients. That sometimes you're not a good fit with somebody, and that's okay. And then there's sometimes that you are not a good fit, sometimes the buyers don't like you. And you find the right person for you. You are buying the biggest investment of your life. You are at that point in the chair of hiring. So make sure you hire the right person, because that you're going to be married to that person for as long as the journey is. Make sure this marriage is a happy marriage.
Right.
And make sure you are going to be happy with each other. If it's going to be tumultuous, and if the person isn't answering your phone calls, isn't responding to you, that's not how it should be, right? They should be responding to you. Like, that's just how we are. We text back very quickly nowadays. It is a texting society. But texting back, emailing, responding, it's just courtesy that we should be doing for you. But this is just a snapshot of what happens in a real estate journey. Now, if you're renting, right, that's a third aspect if you want to rent. As a rental owner, like homeowner wants to rent, super critical you speak to the right realtor. So when you're hiring that rental realtor, you want to make sure that that person, because now when you're buying or selling, the buyer is gone, I mean, you're gone, the sale's closed, it's done. When it's renting, you have that tenant for a whole year. You want to make sure that's a good fit
with them,
with the tenant, right? So you want to make sure that your realtor is a proper realtor for you. And same thing with renting for the agent. But renting as an agent, you have as a rental agent, you'll have less to do. As a seller's agent for renting, you have a lot more work to do and a lot more obligations to the seller. So just be careful when you're doing this. And whether you're here listening to us and you are in out of state or have other questions, feel free to call one of us. It's neetu@ontrackrealty.com, alka@ontrackrealty.com. And if you have any questions, P@ITV Gold. And we'll be happy to guide you through your journey, regardless of whether it is here or not, right? It's important. We want to make sure that you're happy. Right?
And by now, I also have done PhD.
You are now a PhD
Copy
person.
it, please.
P@ITV Gold, and she'll answer all your real estate questions for you. And,
So that takes care of our, realtor part for today. And
Yes.
I had one of my friends asking me this, that, hey, can you guys talk about it? And I'm like, sure.
Oh, that's awesome. We love when your friends ask you these questions.
All right, now comes the favorite part of mine, which is, of course, the featured home for the week. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. We have two featured homes. We have 70 Stratford in Edison. It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's a colonial east-facing, 2-car garage, finished basement, and it's listed for $880. And then we also have another home. It's 15 Bryan Road in Edison. Now here, this is a funky pocket of Edison, which is listed at 08817 zip code, but offers you North Edison schools. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's listed for $660,000. It's also an east-facing home. It's got a newer kitchen. It's got a beautiful backyard with a deck. So it's a very lovely, sweet house and close to 287 and Woodbrook Elementary, Woodrow Wilson, and J.P. Stevens School. Now, it's important when we tell you these things that if you are wanting to see these homes, that's great. But if you want to see any other homes that you want, you can feel free to call us. We're not just bound to show us your listings. We can show you homes listed by our office, by any other office, a for sale by owner, or any other home you may be looking at. So you can be driving around and saying, you know what, I kind of like this neighborhood. I wonder how much this neighborhood is, right? And nothing is on the market. Feel free to call us. We'll be able to tell you what typically...
So you guys can just show them like New Jersey homes.
Oh, New Jersey homes, any
Yes.
homes. Yes, we're licensed in the state of New Jersey. We focus in certain areas, right? We don't focus everywhere else. Obviously, you can't know everything about everywhere. But we can at least guide you and tell you this is what these homes are so that everybody knows what the value is. So when expectation meets reality is where your home search sort of comes into play. When you walk in, it's a whole lot of expectations, but reality is very different. So our whole point is to how to submerge both to kind of get into that concentric circle for you and find you that right home.
So usually, like, especially for a newcomer who has come from India recently and they want to buy a home here, how many homes do you think they should look before they decide on, hey, this is the one I want to buy? I
wouldn't
mean,
give it
considering their money aspect too.
Yeah. I wouldn't really give it a number. We always say that the first home you walk in could be the one. I mean, if it meets all of your criteria. It's within budget. It's affordable, and a lot of people, if they skip that because they want to see more, they regret and they compare to that home. But that's what we're here for. We will look at your expressions. We will feel the energy of when you walk in, and then we'll push if we feel don't let go of this house.
Absolutely.
So there's no number really.
And it's also like saying, okay, how many girls or guys should we see before we get married, right? You may find the right one, the first one. You may not after 50. So there's no answer to that. But when you find the right one, you don't want to keep looking because someone else will take her and then you'll cry because somebody else took her, right? So it's the same thing. If you pass the first house, somebody else bought it. Now you're upset that I didn't react to it. But
You know, the thing is with us, especially Asians, we are like, नहीं, अभी इससे भी अच्छा मिल सकता है, और cheaper price में मिल सकता है. So we tend to be like, नहीं, let's see more.
You know what happens? Maybe it depends on what type of a person you are, right? If you're the type of person who goes into a store and you say, I like this, I'm taking it, moving on, right? Then you're going to be one of those people who's going to be a fast decision maker. If you go into the store and you say, यहाँ पे भी स्टोर में भी देख लेते हैं, इस स्टोर में भी देख लेते हैं, इस स्टोर में भी देख लेते हैं, फिर घर जाके सोचेंगे, फिर दोबारा आएंगे देखने के लिए, फिर इस स्टोर में भी देखेंगे, इस स्टोर में भी देखेंगे. Then you may be the type of person.
But that's where our job is, right? To figure out who you are and are you gonna regret this later?
Yes.
So that's where experience kicks in, that you might regret this later, and we keep asking and asking till we get to the bottom line. Like, are you okay to let it go, or are you gonna actually be upset?
Exactly. And again, you'll see where there's a fine line between pushing and then between getting the answer out of you. So there's a very delicate balance that we do. We're not pushing you because it doesn't matter to us. What we don't want you to do is come to us and say, I'm really regretting this, right? And if you will, even though we said it, that's okay. We know we're going to regret it. An educated consumer is our best customer. So we'll walk in, you'll say, you know what, I regret it. And we'll say, yeah, we all knew we were going to regret it. It's all fine. Let's move forward. But you know going forward what's going to happen, because you can't compare, right? Then you can't say, oh, that girl was skinny and that girl was pretty and now this girl is not so pretty. Well, we gave up the pretty one for the next pretty one. So now we need to figure out what to do, right? So that's important. We are the middle people to come in. वो पुराने ज़माने में कौन होते थे जो बीच में करते थे? विचोला बोलते हैं पंजाबी में, तो उनको विचोला matchmaker. There you go. Well, yes, matchmakers who come in the middle, and that's what we are. We want to match the right person to the right home.
So, before we say goodbye, I want both of you to give like a tip each for, selecting a realtor.
Oh,
okay. So I had a buyer do this to me, which Alkabua knows. What they did is they picked their top 3 realtors, and they sent a home purposely that they knew wouldn't work for them based on the criteria they gave to each realtor. I thought this was pretty cool. They texted it to the realtors and saw who gave the actual feedback and listened to what they said. So ultimately that's how they chose us, because we gave, I guess, that feedback, and other realtors said, yes, it's perfect, let's go see it. So I think that's a cool way. It's just really making sure your realtor is listening to what you're saying and giving you the right feedback. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And I think that talking to your friends and getting a referral from them and saying, this is the person I've worked with and I've had a good relationship with them, and then looking at their reviews and saying, you know what, I'm going to look at your reviews and I'm going to see who you are. And then maybe looking up the person on Facebook or on social media and seeing what is your social media about. Because I think that you can tell a lot about a person based on your social media, right? There's some people who are constantly complaining and constantly irritated on social media. And I'm like, my God. Like, how miserable are you as a person? Like, why are you complaining? Right? So you want to make sure.
And there are realtors who complain.
There are realtors
about clients.
Yeah.
Which is
to us is like, I mean, these are the people who are paying us, right? So,
exactly.
So talk about that and see what is that type of person. Is this person's energy or vibe going to match with mine? I think it's so important because you're with that person for some time, and they say you're the sum of 5 people you're going to hang out with, and you're going to be hanging out with that person for a year. Do you really want to be imbibing that vibe if that's not the vibe that you want? So that would be my
even I think the area, they should, as you spoke about it earlier, they should really know the area very well.
Yeah.
Wherever
that we guide them
buyer
through.
wants to buy the house.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like
100%. If you say all of New Jersey, we're screwed, right? Because then every state buys you different, every place buys you differently. So our job is to kind of focus you in, hone you in on the area. And most people come in pretty knowledgeable. Consumers are pretty smart and savvy, for sure.
All right, it was lovely talking to both of you today, and I think I got my another lesson today.
Absolutely.
And we'll be back next week again, same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar, everybody. Thank you.